Good evening,
Please.
everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. I'm really glad to see professionals from different SAP domains taking time to explore SAP Master Data Governance. Before we start, I would like just to understand the audience better. And many of you might be from SAP MM, FICO, SD, basis, supply chain, or even working as end users. And some of you may already have exposure to master data management or data governance concepts. So today's session is designed to give you practical clarity on SAP MDG and how it works in real projects and why organizations are investing heavily in data governance solutions today. So let me quickly walk you through what we will cover in this session today. Introduction to SAP MDG, SAP MDG applications and rules, governance, platform and configurations, architecture and data models, career insights, and we're going to wrap up with best practices and success factors. Yeah, so before we begin the session, let me take a moment to introduce our trainer for today. So we are glad to have, Mr. Anvesh Polijana with us, an experienced SAP MDG professional with extensive industry exposure in master data governance, into implementations and real-time projects, completing trained 50 plus batches, and then with strong expertise in SAP MDG architecture, workflows, and enterprise data governance practices. So he has been actively involved in helping organizations streamline their master data process. So in today's session, he will walk us through the core concepts of SAP MDG, practical use cases, and a live demonstration, which will give you a clear understanding of how SAP MDG works in real business environments. So without taking much time, I would like to hand over the session to our trainer, Mr. Anvesh Polijana, to take this forward. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks for giving a quick introduction. So I see there are some participants who are having already experience from the data governance and data management, right? So since we wanted to complete this entire session with more practical grounds, more close to the reality, can someone explain me what are the typical challenges that your client has faced and how the data governance has solved the problem? Do someone has any example so that others would also understand? Okay. So if not, that's okay. Let me take one example. Let's say we see there are multiple companies who does the collaborations or vendorship or acquisitions, mergers, so on and so forth in terms of B2B business processes. So if a company has to evaluate another company, there are some aspects on which they will do the entire valuation of the company. For example, what are the total number of assets a company has? Like how many laptops do they have? What is the total cost of the infrastructure? How many vehicles have been registered on the company name? Right? XYZ. And the total number of clients that the company has. So far, how many clients that they have implemented? How many ongoing leads that they are having? What is an average ticket price on which they have made make a closure for one services, right? Based on this, they will understand what is the capability of a company. Now, if a company has actively only, for example, 40 clients, those are only 40 clients that they have, but unfortunately in the system we can see there are 65 records that are existing. Now if I look at the total number of clients in the database, it gives me 65, but ideally there are only 40. I'm taking a very small number. You can translate this to probably I have only 400 records in my database, right, which are active, but I see total there are probably 700 customers which are inactive in my database. Now, how difficult to do a valuation about a company, right? Now, why these customers are being created? Why these duplicates are being created? Very simple reason. A person who is trying to create a record might not have a support of good technical platform. The digital applications are not helping him to find a suitable record, so he often goes and creates a duplicate one. Even in our regular day-to-day life, we often find very difficult to search an existing file in our laptop. Instead, you directly go and download a new copy of it. At the end of the day, you can see there could be so many duplicate files that exist in your laptop, right? The same way, a company would end up having so many duplicate or incomplete records in the database on which majority of the decision making will happen. And if the data is wrong or if we cannot rely on the data, then your decision making might lead to business problems, right? So let's understand. I see some of questions who can attend this, right? So let's understand how a project will get initiated, and once a project is initiated, how a project plan will be created, and what kind of resources that will be included in this project. What could be the typical implementation time that it takes to complete the governance of one object, master data object? What are the challenges that we regularly see? And we will be taking any kind of questions which are open from the consultants, right? So now, before I go to this, who can attend this course, let me take a problem statement, right? Now, I see that being a company or being a client side, they understand that the business problem is data issues in customer and equipment master. For example, there is a company who is doing manufacturing process, and for them, customers are nothing but the distributors to whom they will be selling their products and products. And because it's a manufacturing project, I mean company, they are highly dependent on the equipments to convert a raw product into finished good product. So these are the two master data objects in which they see there is a lot of data inconsistencies exist. Now, we are not getting into why there is a problem with a similar example what I discussed earlier, and also some other reasons that business has identified that there are some inconsistencies with the data that is available in the system. Okay. Now, every client would be having their key account manager nominated from SAP as part of the CRM, customer relationship management. For a client, there will be a key account manager. So the client will call this key account manager, brief him about his problem statement, and expecting a solution from a key account manager. Now, understanding the problem statement, now this account manager will connect with some of the salespeople or the subject matter expertise from SAP and propose that there is a solution called MDG, Master Data Governance, using which you will be able to control the quality of data for the upcoming records which you are going to create. And for existing data, you need to do a data cleansing process. These are the two unique services that you require to fix your data problem. Now, for that, he would also recommend some of the recommended vendors. For example, could be the top consulting companies. He might recommend it. Or else, the client will directly go to this Find SAP Partners portal, which is provided by SAP. In that, he will search for the vendors who can provide the services, right? SAP partner vendors registered with SAP, silver partner, gold partner, platinum partner, right? Any type of a partner who are registered with SAP, they will try to identify those people and send them the RFP, right? Request for proposal, where the problem statement will be provided in this, and ask them to provide a solution. Now, there will be multiple table discussions which typically happens with multiple companies, company A, company B, company C, and they will evaluate the RFP, which company is providing better solution and who is giving them confidence, and the basic criteria, the expected timelines versus cost versus support versus timely responses. By evaluating all these partners, they will award the contract to one vendor, right? During this contract, there will be an SOW document which will be signed. scope of work, a very high level details will be there in the scope of work document, right? Now the scope of work will be later translated into between client and the vendor. There will be a scope of work as a reference document. A contract will be signed. Now, after this scope of work, a project plan has to be developed. Now, understanding the number of records, data which has to be cleaned, to clean the data. There are two aspects of this project: clean existing data and to govern new data. So, to clean this existing data, you need data cleansing team. So, to extract the data and cleanse it and again to load it, you also need bots or any migration consultants. And to manage the data governance part, you need MDG technical consultants. To understand the client requirement and translate it into an MDG technical consultant format, from business blueprint to technical format, you need an MDG functional consultant. And to manage the existing data and also to manage the governance part of this too, you need one data architect, data management consultant. And to manage the technicalities of this both, right? Not from a data dimension, but from a technicalities of this both, you need to have a technical architect. And to manage this entire team, you need a project manager. So how many roles that we are able to see in a typical MDG project? You have a project manager, technical architect, data management consultant, MDG functional consultant, technical consultant, a migration consultant, data cleansing team. These many roles are available for any typical S4HANA conversion project. Why I'm saying conversion? Because whenever someone is trying to migrate from legacy to S4 system, always this practice will be implemented as a prerequisite, because from inconsistent to clean environment, moving is possible in this phase. This is the right time to do this. So do someone have any questions that you would not fit into any of this role and still trying to learn this course? Do someone have any such kind of questions?
No.
Clear, right? So people who are having ABAP as a background knowledge, you would be able to execute MDG technical role. Non-ABAP, but coming from any related SAP module, especially from plant maintenance, sales and distribution, finance, procurement processes, right? So you guys would fit into MDG functional consultant roles, or any person probably it is not related to even SAP, right? Because whatever we are discussing is a theory, and that theory is being executed based on some principles. Like you have project management as a theory, right? And supporting that, you have multiple tools, like Zira is one of the tools. Similarly, data management is a concept. Now we are implementing governance with MDG is one of the SAP developed. And there are multiple non-SAP tools also. And data cleansing is an exercise which we do directly with Excels, which we can do using consolidation tools, which we can do using boards. So we can use multiples to manage data cleansing act. So anyone who is coming from a data as their previous experience, even the fact that if you're coming as an end user who knows that end-to-end P2P process, order to make process, you will be able to fit into this data cleansing or data management roles. So now we understand that how many roles will be there and what are the prerequisites to be to fit into that role, right? If you wanted to be a technical consultant, you should be having an ABAP, OOPS, ABAP, and RFC related implementations experience. And a functional consultant typically able to configure a plant, the company code, valuation classes, sales areas, purchase orgs, and link the dependencies, all set of prerequisites that are required to create your master data object. That kind of a backend configuration should be definitely there as a prerequisite. And for anyone who wants to settle into data quality or data consultant rules, you must be knowing the rules. For example, before closing an order, you need to make sure that there is no stock on the material level. Or before marking a blocking a customer, you need to make sure that all the transactions have been closed from the customer point. Such kind of rules you need to establish, even if it is not supported by the system, you need to establish, understand. So a person who can build this kind of data quality rules, manage the field properties, which feel to be mandatory, which feel to be optional, right? Talk to the business, understand their problems, build the required validation rules and derivations. These are some prerequisites a data quality manager should have. Now, I see there is a lot of demand which has awarded to an SAP MDG skill because, as I said, SAP is moving in a direction. I mean, there is a phase for SAP, right, to attract new customers and sell SAP services to the customers. But the current phase is, which I notice, they are targeting the existing customers, right, existing clients who are running on ECC and convert them into S4. As I said in my previous slide, whenever you are doing this conversion, making your data clean is something becomes mandatory. And that's where the MDG projects are becoming more now, and there is a lot of demand. Still, the supply, again, I don't say there is good supply. There are a number of MDG consultants, but the quality of the consultants is not up to the mark, right? So still there is a lot of demand for the MDG consultants. And that's where we can see these are the current offerings which I notice the market is offering. So now let's understand two parts of this. I know that I have an existing data issue. First of all, I need to clean my existing data and I need to make sure my new data is always governed. Again, this is a typical and individual mentality, right? For example, for instance, you are moving from your old home to new home. You don't carry the wastage, right? There is a lot of unused things, a lot of things which you don't touch, so many things which are out of warranty. You always keep in your shelf, but when you're moving to new space, you dump everything and you only move whatever you require. The same thing when you are moving to the new environment. This becomes an opportunity for a client to clean the existing data. So the step one will be you have your database. From here, you extract the data. Now, let's be more precise in this example. Whenever I'm doing the governance, I can do governance for multiple objects. I can do it for customers. I can do it for vendors. I can do it for materials. I can do it for profit center. I can do it for articles, equipments, right? So on and so forth. Multiple things I can do. Now within that, when I'm implementing MDG, it is not mandated to implement MDG for all these objects. I can choose any one which I feel it is creating me more problem. Right? For example, if I want to take materials, I'll take materials. Now in these materials also, let's say if my age of the company is like 20 years, right? 20 years is my age of the company. I don't need to cleanse all the 20 years data, right? Because the materials which I created 20 years back, I don't think they might exist even today, right? Then there will be some extraction rules. What could be those rules? Any data which is from last 10 years, any materials which are created last 10 years, I want to extract. This is one rule. And second rule, within this, any materials, if I'm not creating any purchase or sales beyond 5 years, I don't want to deal with those materials. For example, I created a material in 2017 and from last 5 years, I'm not dealing with any transaction. I don't have a purchase order, I don't have a sales. That means it could be a one-time material which I meant for a purpose, right? So active transactions from last 5 years. Now what do I do with the rest? I archive. Okay. So the data which I feel that it is no more relevant, no more valid, instead of deleting them, I'll archive them. That's where archiving also becomes one of the services in this project. Archiving the unwanted data. And this typically happens probably 5 years once, 10 years once, not a regular service. So after you extract the data, then you identify inconsistencies, incomplete, duplicates, potential duplicates. It is not an exact duplicate, but it seems to be a duplicate. For example, if there is a material and having incomplete description to it, or there is no proper valuation class to it, right? All these inconsistencies are incomplete. We will try to make the record consistent, fill the missing information, duplicates you identify best record from duplicate, make it to consistent, and you will submit the potential duplicate because you don't know what is duplicate, but you think it is a potential duplicate, get approval from client, and finally you will load clean data into system. So this process, what I said, inconsistencies, incompleteness, I mean filling the missing information, you call it as enrichment.
Anvesh, this is Mahir.
Inconsistency into consistency, you call it as standardization.
Yeah. Hi, Anvesh. I have one question here.
Yeah.
So my name is Mahidhar, and so sorry to disturb you in between. So I have one question here. As you told that we will extract the data over here to validate, or we make sure that what are the duplicate checks and potential or incomplete data, inconsistency,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
how we will validate these data? We will extract the data through migration or through some bots. But how we will validate these data? How we will make sure this is an inconsistent data? Because a lot of records will be there extracted, right? So how come we will validate all these records?
That's where we have the data cleansing exercise. No, now for us to make sure if a record is incomplete, okay,
Okay.
we'll be having some business rules. For example, if a customer says that for every material, I need to have the classification of the product, right? Which are part of material type, okay? Unit of measure,
Yeah.
item category, and material group 1, material group 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yeah.
I need all these details for me to identify the material in so that to understand in which family it belongs to. Okay. Now, for some reason, for some materials, there is no values in 4 and 5. That will be falling under incomplete.
Okay, but we'll compare the data with the existing data via Excel, or how we will validate these things.
Multiple options are there. That traditional process is through Excel, right?
Okay,
In
like
Excel, we can do it. Or you extract the data digitally into boards, you can do that. You have the consolidation tools, you can do that.
okay,
There are some third-party tools also which does it. But everything relies on the business rule, what we are getting in from the business. Okay. For example, now there could be a customer who says, if my name is matching between two customers, okay, in the same country, then you mark it as duplicate. But there could be another customer who says, don't go with the country or don't go with the name of the customer, go with the business identification number. If my ID numbers are same, then it's an exact duplicate, right? So the rules will be purely defined by the customer. Once we get those rules as part of our requirement gathering, then we will be able to classify these four different subdivisions.
but we will use any tools like you told that bots or kind of consolidation or kind of things. Is there any particular tool that validates all these records, mass records in one go?
No,
No.
I mean, not everything in one go. This
Uh-huh.
typically happens. This is purely a manual. I has to, some expertise has to look into the record and identify.
Okay. No particular tool is there so that to validate. So all these are manual inputs we have to do.
We done. See, for example, you can develop a small logic in any tool, right? Show me any materials which are missing any one of these value, right? Between these attributes, any one value which is missing, you give me that record.
Mm.
But what value should come here is something that no one can tell. Having a domain experience from a data side, data background, only they'll be able to come and map it here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So now we are loading this clean data into system using which we are able to address the existing data. We got the data clean here. So once you get this data clean, you need to ensure that the new records which are going to be created should have been created clean. Now, why they don't create it, with the complete set? For example, let me take one example from the manufacturing industry. Whenever a product is being created. For example, if there is a decor item, glass decor which is being created, Okay, a decor item. Who has to initiate that? Someone has to create this decor item. Probably the initiation will come from sales team. They understand coming from the market. There are some items or some decor items which public is showing a lot of interest on that kind of item. So far we are not manufacturing it from our company. So let's try to create one product. Sales has initiated. That means sales org data should be sales area data to be assigned to a material. Am I right? Now, that's okay, you initiated it. But who is going to provide the design evaluation? That product that you're asking, can we mold in that in our production center? So the production planning team has to involve here. That's okay, you produced it, but where am I supposed to keep it? Do I have my warehouse available for that? My warehouse team has to approve it. Okay, you produce it, then I'll approve it. I'll be able to, put it in my warehouse. Then quality management team. I don't have bandwidth to evaluate the quality checks for the products which you are designing. Or okay, I'll be able to, or I don't have knowledge, but I'll be able to gain the knowledge. And finally, once the costing team will also come to manufacture this product, this is the cost which happens. If your selling cost is, for example, $15, and if my making cost is $16, then I cannot sell this product because my making cost itself is too much, right? Now he has given the $16. The sales is saying that I'll be able to sell this in $15. Then this is going for the sales head approval. Now the sales head will ask this question: why this is coming to $16 if other companies are able to produce with a less cost? So he has to discuss with all the other departments, and finally he need to take a decision whether to approve to create this record or not. Once he says okay, then the record should be ideally created. So most of the times it is not about governing the basic data of your material. It is about all various views of your material master should be feasible to create that material in your database. But the step-by-step approval is not there in MM01 in SAP, right? Where you create the material. So you created a material directly with the basic data, and then the sales team has assigned the sales area, and finally the sales head. But you need to understand by this time the record is already created in database. And finally, sales head saying, no, this is not feasible. But once it is not feasible, people are not interested to go back and, mark it for delete. They'll just left that material like that in the database. That's where the incomplete, inconsistencies, duplicate records will come. So the best solution to have the data clean for the ongoing recordings is to govern the entire data before you create it, not after creating it. That's where we are having MDG as a tool where you govern the entire data before you create it in your database. So you have maintain, you have validate, you have approve, and then you replicate so that it will come and fall in your MM01 transaction so that you can raise the purchase order or sales order to it. Now we understand how an MDG solution is going to solve the problem and how data cleansing is fixing the existing issues at a high level. Often in a project, there are so many people even having a lot of experience in SAP. I don't know, for some X reasons, they don't understand the delivery model of SAP MDG solution. They think like it's completely a different system altogether, right? So to make it simplify, let me tell you, when you are purchasing an SAP system, let's say when you are installing your S4 HANA system, by default, SAP will send you some of the mandatory modules that are required for a business to run. It's like by default they include. Example like SAP FI, MM, SD, HR, right? Without these modules, you cannot run S4HANA. Now for all these modules, SAP will also deliver you the database where the data will be managed in the related tables. Like for materials, you have MARA, for customers, you have KNYMN, for your finance objects, you have CSKS. Now, if you want to implement MDG, the solution will be already available in S4HANA, but you just need to activate that solution. These solutions are sold separately based on the need by the customer. As I said, it is not a mandate to govern your master data by only MDG, right? You can use third-party solutions also. So SAP will not ship that solution by default in an active version. They send the solution of MDG in the same S4HANA box. It will be there in S4HANA box, but in inactive mode. you need to purchase licenses to activate the solutions in your same S4HANA box. It is not a, again I'm saying, it is not a separate software which is called as an add-on which you will install in the SAP. No, it is not a separate add-on. It is by default delivered in your S4HANA system. You just need to activate it. So for MDG also, you have its own respective tables which are created, but only difference is these are generated tables. They don't have one specific name. These will be generated in your system the moment you activate it. But technically, the moment you activate the solution, these tables will be generated. Now, MDG will closely work with the master data objects to read the data and to post the data back to these tables. Right? This is how SAP will ship the MDG solution along with your S4 HANA box. Based on your need, you will activate the solution. What all solutions are there? Now, if I have to give the entire history, let me give an overview, right? Initially, SAP has developed a solution for material, customer, vendor in the form of BP and finance objects. In FI, they have implemented like profit center, cost center, GL account, cost element, financial breakdown structure, so on. Now, SAP also offered their partners, they can also come and develop some solutions. That's where there was a company called Utopia who developed the two solutions. One is in fashion and retail, another is in EAM, Enterprise Asset Management. Under the roof of this EAM, they have provided equipment master, work center, task management, and so on and so forth. And as part of financial and retail, they have developed article master. These are the two solutions which a company was offered as a SAP partner. And there was another company called SNV who developed a solution called under FI. They developed FIAA, Financial Fixed Asset Accounting, FIAA solution. This partner has developed. Now, there was another company called Prometheus Group who acquired these two companies, right? Now, other than SAP, this is the only company or as a partner who is offering all these other solutions in the current industry. Any questions on this? Now, let's understand the different deployment models. Again, I wanted to make it very simple. There is a lot of, people often, call it as a complicated topic, but fundamentally, there is only one principle. How we call it as a core deployment versus hub deployment. There are only two deployment options, right? As I said, where you have your core modules in S4 HANA system and in which your regular transactions like purchase order, sales order, invoice, accountings, and all those things are happening on the same system, right? On the same system, if you activate MDG, this MDG, if you activate it and govern your master data, either it could be customer or vendor or material or anything, right? If you are activating it, MDG solution on the same system where your transactions are happening, you call it as a co-deployment solution. In case where you have a separate S4 HANA, which is only meant for MDG. In that, apart from MDG, you are not activated any other. No, there is no FI, SD in that. Only MDG. You create the customers or you manage the vendors in this S4 HANA box. And finally, whatever the customers which are created in this S4 HANA, you send the data to your operational S4 HANA, right? If you're sending those materials or vendors to your operational S4 HANA, then you call it as a hub deployment. Because in the sub model, it is not necessarily to send the materials to only one system. You can connect with multiple other systems also. This could be system A, this could be system B, C. That's why we call it as a hub. So if someone is asking what deployment model you are doing, my only one question would be, where are the transactions being created? In the same system where your MDG is activated, then it's co-deployment. Now we have a separate system where we are running transactions, but master data is being created in MDG system, then it is a hub deployment model. right?
But Anvish, here, like the data gets transferred in the co-deployment via access class, right?
Correct.
And in the hub deployment through communication channels.
Through RFCs. I mean, between two systems, always there should be an interface.
Yeah. But here in the co-deployment also, say for example, so basically in the co-deployment, what we say is on top of ECC, MDG is installed.
Hmm.
So if this co-deployment is also connected to other systems, the same SAP systems like SRM, CRM kind of things, if they are connected with the co-deployment to other systems, again we need to use this
Interfaces.
communication channel.
That's what I'm saying here, no?
Uh-huh.
The moment the data is created from generated tables to your active tables, you can send this data back to any system. It could be SAP or third party. Now, this is not a topic related to MDG, right?
Mm.
Now, you have your, for example, you have your master data where you have your operations, okay? And you have your SRM separately. Now, the integration is already there between SRM and operation system, correct? To exchange your suppliers. This was already there. Now you're adding MDG on this, right?
Yes.
So the connection or the data exchange between two different systems will always have an interface involved. This is
So
not related to MDG at all here.
correct. So if it is within the system, so make sure that there's a co-deployment which is on top of ECC. So it is sending just this data to the operational system. It's a co-deployment on top of
Correct.
ECC. MDG is
Correct.
installed, and if it is sending data within the master data via access class, I think via access class, it
Correct.
will send data to the
Correct.
operational system. If it is
Correct.
only single system, and if it
Correct.
is connected to the external systems, I think in again RFCs or IDOCs that will be.
See, if it is an
Correct.
external system, right? For
Hmm.
example, in the same example, I'm saying Ariba is there, okay? For
Yeah,
example, Ariba is there. It's a cloud environment.
yeah.
Okay. Now you created here suppliers from MDG.
Hmm.
Okay. LFA1. What is the source to you to send the data to Ariba? Is it MDG or LFA1?
From MDG to Ariba, you meant to say?
From your operational system
Okay.
or from ECC to Ariba. If at all you have to send a vendor, from where do you send? From MDG or from LFA1 source?
LFA1, I think.
LFA1, right?
Uh,
So this is not a component related to MDG. That's what I'm trying to say.
mm.
Let's not mix it. Now, any web services or IDOCs or RFCs will read the data from LFA1 and send it to Ariba. Now, here, where is MDG? Right?
Yes.
MDG role has ended till sending the data to LFA1. That's where the objective is completed. The positioning of MDG is completed.
Correct.
Okay.
Generally, for
So,
this, I'm sorry,
yeah.
last question. Generally, for this Ariba system, I think data will be sent via proxy or CIG, Cloud Interface Gateway, I think, right?
Yeah, there could be multiple scenarios.
Okay.
Directly, you can read it from, for example, if it is S4 HANA, right? CAG is recommended.
Mm-hmm.
But before S4 HANA, if ECC and Ariba was integrating, CAG was not there. Directly, no, it's an API call. In between, if you need to map anything, PA would be required.
Uh-huh. Through payloads, I think, right?
No, process integration, XI.
Process integration. Okay. So CAG comes into picture when it is S4 HANA.
S4 HANA, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, as I was saying in my previous example, when someone is trying to raise a request, he will do the duplicate check and see if the data is not available, if the customer is not available, or the material is not available. Only then he'll start to raise a request. Then the request begins with 0% of data, and then it will update it in the staging table. The staging table is a table which is a generated table by MDG. In my previous example here, I'm referring, there is a generated table, right? This is a generated table. Now, in this generated table, the request will get updated and the data gets matured to 30%. Some basic data will be filled. Then it will be getting validated by the business team. Right? In case if they require to, for example, this especially happens in food industries, right? In case if someone is trying to create any kind of FMCG product related to food, they need to get an approval from the central body, from the government, that this components of the food is good to eat. There is no harm in producing this product. So if there is any questions, if there is any kind of queries, then the process will be stopped here. So then you need to integrate with the external agencies. So once the validation is completed, as I said, it will go to an approval. You can recall it's like a sales head who will review, validate, and check the business impact, and finally approve to create the record, right? So on an approve, when there is no business error. See here, I am specifically saying there is no business error. Data is there in all the mandatory fields. In my previous example, $15 is a selling cost, $16 is a making cost. So here, business problem is that there is an error in the business, not on the data. So this kind of business impact will be validated by the department heads, and once they approve it, then the data will be moved from the MDG staging tables to the core tables of SAP, right? So once the data is available in this KNA or CSKS tables, then these materials can be used for the regular transactions like sales order, purchase order, and so on and so forth. No, but in case if you have to replicate this data to any third parties or non-LP systems, then you need to replicate this data to any of the other systems via the interfaces, what we have discussed in the previous example. That is the entire business flow which happens. Now let's come to an architectural part. This is a very common diagram which you would have seen in multiple blocks of SAP. Let me try to get into some details. When you purchase S4HANA, as a solution, MDG framework come with ready-made used interfaces, which would be Fiori-based interfaces, or it would be web interfaces. MDG application always work in web. Please remember, MDG application always works in web. It's a web-based solution. It also comes with the predefined templates like 2-level approvals, 3-level approvals, and the system also automatically take care of the standard validations. For example, you have your material master created using MM01. In this, material type is mandatory. And where you're doing this material type is mandatory, SPRO. In SPRO configuration, some functional consultant has made it mandatory. Now, MDG also refers to the same SPRO configuration and makes the material type as mandatory. So it seems, indirectly, it is in sync with your regular process. You don't need to put any additional efforts to make it mandatory again in MDG. This basically happens in any other tools. But in MDG, it automatically integrates with this, the standard SPRO configurations. So that's why we call it as inbuilt rules. Validations are already in place. And it comes with such functions, data quality adapters, all those objects, available. Now, in case if you need to build any custom objects, for example, there is no solution for WBS master. There will be, PS. In PS, you have project and WBS. There is no governance solution for WBS. In case if you want to implement it, we can implement a governance for WBS as a custom solution. Now, this has the capabilities to integrate with any third-party solutions. Like I was saying, it can talk with any external agencies, government websites, external bureaus, and get the related data. And once the data is available, it can also shoot the data outside of MDG system using the regular services like SOA, ALE, and RFCs. So this is the architecture of MDG. And these are some partner solutions what we have explained in the previous slide. Now, when I'm saying it is integrated into SAP Workbench, it is reading your SPRO configurations. Not only that, in case if the MM module is coming with any new solutions, for example, in S4HANA, material ledger has become mandatory, right? Automatically in MDG also it is becoming mandatory. So not only in SPRO point of view, but also the latest logic which delivered by SAP, the latest business logic developed by an ABAPs in the form of BAPIs, even those are also directly integrated into MDG framework. And MDG performs the duplicate checks, which is configurable. Now you can perform the duplicate checks based on the material types or material description, or if it is customer name or customer ID number or vendor tax numbers, right? So like that, we can identify the duplicates. This is purely a configurable solution, nothing to be coded. And you have governance in the form of workflow and some rules that you can activate at each step. For example, when the requester is raising a customer, you don't know in which sales area you need to extend him, right? So at the requester level, the sales area can be optional, but at the business level, it should be mandatory. So the role-based rules can be configured in this governance. And time dependent and independent data. For example, you have profit centers and cost centers where the validity of the cost center is the key. A cost center is created along with the validity. You call it as a time dependent data. So MDG supports this both the time dependent and independent data as well. And that's where there is a concept called editions, which is given in the finance solution, right? And MDG supports both ECC database and HANA database. For the customers who are on ECC, still there is an MDG solution available as part of a separate software as an add-on. We can install it. Or if the customers is on S4 HANA, it is shipped by default in the S4 HANA itself. It is not an external add-on. It is delivered as part of a basic solution delivery. And as I said, it is always a web-based application. Either you have a Fury applications or NWBC applications. But here the limitation I would say, the Fury applications are only meant for the requester and for the approver, not for the validator. Reason? Approver will be only seeing some of the basic views and approve it. Again, requester also in my previous example, he'll only create the customer details but not the sales area details. So the amount of fields that they deal with to submit a request or to review the request is very minimal. But the validator, he has to open up multiple views and verify the data. So opening those many views is not feasible in a mobile solution, and hence the Fury applications are not delivered. And at any point in time, MDG application can integrate with any SAP and non-SAP solution to read the data or to enrich the data, right? To validate the data. All the capabilities are enabled. Any language, for example, ODatas, BizTalk servers, or SOA managers, or RFCs, or IDOCs, CPI, PI, anything, there is a possibility for you to integrate and enhance your business rules. Now, consolidation is also part of an MDG solution, but however, it has a lot of limits in implementing this consolidation via MDG, and hence most of the times the data cleansing process is already happened by a bots or any other tools. There are very likely less chances that we'll be doing consolidation via MDG, but it offers. So these are the capabilities of MDG, which is making itself to stand unique compared to all other tools. And these are various views that you can see, right? From each master data object. Like for materials, what all views are there? EN classification, CLs, logistics, values, like that. These are the various views. Now we can see MDG started somewhere in 2015 in terms of S4 HANA version 15.11. That was the initial version. But actually in 2016, it started, implemented by customers. Fortunately, I got the opportunity to work with, MDG S4 HANA the moment it released in 1610. Since then, I'm traveling with MDG. And there are a lot of issues which are there, performance issues were there, some challenges in the rules implementations. All those issues have been identified and given in terms of support hotfixes. In 2017, they have given the latest version by fixing all the solution and improvising some of the performances, right? And in 2018, data quality functions have been launched. And in 19, there is a lot of change request based, tracking such functionalities have been added to the MDG solution. And 2020, always the duplicate check was there in the initial requested level, but later we made it a little flexible. SAP made it a little flexible on-demand duplicate checks, right? Whenever it is required, only then you do the duplicate check. And also, they have offered Excel file uploads in mass handling capabilities. There will always a TXT file support, But now there was multiple concerns from SAP. I mean SAP end users to managing with TXT files. At last in 2020, SAP offered doing a file upload with Excel. And in 2021, enhanced version of BP with performance management. For example, BP was always incomplete for some kind of customers in case if there is a credit management and the credit information is hidden in the BP creation level, right? So let's say if someone is trying to create a customer, there are some businesses who will always provide the credit limit for the customer during the creation time itself. But if those views are not available, it will be very difficult for them to create the those business partners. So SAP has giving the custom solutions for all this type of issues, but late in 2021, they have also added those views as part of the standard BP solution and increase the performance in terms of mass handling capabilities. 2022, SAP also supported the DQM capabilities, supports the custom fields as well. Again, there was a limitation, but they also supported in 2022 version. And in 2023, the cloud-ready version is offered by MDG. So in case if someone wants to implement MDG via cloud directly in web without having the MDG software installed on their premise, they can still utilize the MDG from web application, right? After that, there is no latest release by MDG because that's where I think SAP has stopped to add nothing much to MDG as a solution. We are waiting for to hear some announcement. I think SAP is focusing something on the AI side, right, to extend MDG by adding some of the AI capabilities in place. But we are waiting to see what other things will come in at least 2026. So this is about MDG, MDG versions, MDG solutions, MDG development partners, deployment options, and so on and so forth. Now, I think from here I'm done and I would be open for any questions what you have.
So, Anvish, I have one question regarding this validation part. So, it's of my observation, which I observed in my project. I'm just trying to put here. So, I just wanted to ask. So, one thing is like material type change. Generally, we look after the stock if there is any stock existing or kind of thing. We will check, right? It's a standard thing. If there is a stock existing, we can change the base unit of measure or material type change kind of things.
Correct.
So generally, it's a standard thing, and also the users also should aware if there is any open orders kind of thing, they can't create a change request kind of thing. But still, so many users will create a change request. And can we put a validation point, like a custom validation point stating it's should be a pop-up on the screens like a stock is existing, you can't create any change request kind of thing. Can we put like that?
It's a very common, development that even I implement in multiple projects. We can definitely do that.
Okay. So possibility is there. It's we can create a custom logic on that, right? Right?
See, you just need to make, and go some queries on your purchase order tables, VKKO, EKKO tables, BSEC tables, and see if there's any transaction happening to it.
Mm.
And based on the status, you can say that, you're not allowed to do any changes for this.
Mm.
But again, it has to be limited to some important fields, not for everything.
Mm.
Yeah. For example, extending the middle to a new sales area,
Mm.
adding a new valuation class, they're open to do that. But
Yeah.
changing the stock value is different, right? Or changing the material description, again, there will be an impact. Such kind of fields, we should never allow to do it.
So okay. So we need to identify the fields which are not impacting, and based on that, we can put a validation.
Correct. See, always we need to identify low risk versus high risk fields.
Huh.
Based on this high risk fields, we need to do these validations.
Okay. So only the particular fields, like if we want to change any based unit of measure or material type change, in that basically we will face this stock existing point of time, stock existing point time.
Correct.
In that points, I think we can put a validations, right?
Yes, we
Model.
can put that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Anvish.
Hi.
Myself, Bala. Actually, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm working as a risk consultant to the companies.
Working as what?
Risk consultant.
Tax consultant. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we come across some of the instances like the changes in the masters are happening, uh, which is not controlled. Okay, so through this MDG, we can have a complete architecture and complete workflow system is mapped under this MDG. So the each and every field validation, let's say for example, if it is a customer PAN number or GST number, it should be like this parameters. Like PAN should be 10 digits. Out of that, 5 digits has to be alpha, and 4 digits is numeric, and the last digit check digit is alpha. Like that, any specific validation also can be possible in this through MDG.
Definitely possible. Definitely we can build it.
Okay.
See, now
And
every country has a different process of defining the PAN numbers, right?
yes.
And according to the country rules, I mean, some countries might always have their country name in the first two characters of it,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
these things can be developed as part of custom rules. Definitely possible.
Okay. And second thing is if for the vendor master and the customer business partner, so there are multiple views, right? Some of the views has to be updated by specific roles. Let's say for example the accounting for customer master and vendor master, the reconciliation account has to be updated only from the account side,
Correct.
those
Finance.
who are working
Yes.
in accounts. So it should not be the change request whether can we restrict from the users
I'll
or
tell you a
procurement
scenario,
side to
right?
change.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you. When someone is raising a basic request with the customer details, they will give the basic customer account type, right? And
Yeah.
the basic address details and communication details. Now, the next thing, the procurement team has to extend the sales views, and whoever owning that customer, they need to extend to the sales team, and they need to take the all sales related views data. They need to update. Then, in case if it is a kind of two direction customer, right? Then it will go to purchasing team. Purchase or details will be entered by the procurement team. Okay, now since the sales and purchasing team has entered, definitely the finance team has to check
Yes.
whether the banking information is correct or not, or the company code details are correctly mapped or not. As you rightly said, reconciliation account is rightly mapped or not, right? So whenever the finance team is changing the data, they should be only changing the company code data and the banking data. No other data to be changed by the financing team.
Yes.
All these restrictions can be done in MDG. We can do that. Same thing we can also handle through the sales team. Whenever they change the sales data, the other views they will be able to only see them as a display. They're not allowed to change it. This kind of role-based controls we can definitely handle.
Okay. So my final question would be, if after implementing MDG, can we restrict the manual access like FK0 to 1
We
or
have
2?
to. That's one of the prerequisites. We
So
have to.
is it manual or it can be automated?
It's not automated. It is manual. Whenever you are implementing a project plan, during the go live activity as a cutover, you need to remove the access to the create and change transactions to the users when MDG is implemented.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Can you share some details on job opportunities for MDG? Yes, I'll take this one. Adding to this, is there a mandatory to learn any other recipe models to become an expert in MDG? See, apart from this, you don't need to learn any other modules. Now, when you are tagging yourself as a data consultant, I would always recommend that you should having a knowledge in data quality capabilities, right? The data quality offers with data archiving, data cleansing, data governance, data consolidation, data integration, and then you call yourself as a data expert. Don't call yourself as an MDG expert because MDG started almost around 10 years back, and definitely it's going to be there in next 7 to 8 years. But you guys would have probably heard that there is a lot of AI is coming. Still, I think being an SAP consultant, we are fortunate that somehow we are luckily not being hit by AI, because our SAP code is kind of a private secure code. It's not an open source code. Even if you go to ChatGPT and ask, to develop some logic, if you give some API, the ChatGPT can't give you the real APIs. Whatever the API it is proposing, you want to go and search in SAP, you don't find the API because our APIs are always private. It is inside SAP. So that way, today at least, we are not becoming a direct hit by this AI. But in future, if SAP thinks that all this coding should be adapted by AI and every coding should be developed by AI itself, then all the technical roles will be, I would say, there won't be any position for a technical consultants. But always for the data consultant, it's not an AI job. It is an it's a data consultant who needs to understand, who will be justifying the data quality of a specific record in the system, right? So I would recommend you to learn. Maybe MDG is a starting point for you to get into the data space. But once you get an opportunity, I would request you to also go 2 steps behind and understand the data cleansing, data archiving, data integration, and all other things which are happening across the data. Now, from the jobs perspective, these are the packages which I shown, right? Because one of our services, we also do staffing for multiple companies, and we see these are the average rate cards of an MDG consultants, which are currently happening as a salary trend in the market. Now, I don't think we have any day that without working for MDG consultants, we are closing a day. Always there is a requirement for MDG consultants because I also told the logical reason for that. SAP is focusing to upgrade their customers from ECC to S4. In all the S4 projects, MDG is a mandate. So that's where you still have a good demand, and this demand will be continuing for at least next 7 to 8 years. Darshan, can you please share some course for data cleansing that supports an SAP MDG learning? See, now there is no such data cleansing that supports MDG. These are two separate parts together, right? Now, data cleansing is a separate activity and governance is a separate activity. Let's not mix them. And data cleansing is a different exercise we should be having. I mean, it is always learning, right? For example, a manufacturing industry, how they create and manage their products will be completely different to another manufacturing industry, right? This is now the moment you go and get the project and you understand how they are doing it, you learn from the business and start doing the data cleansing. Now, hardly there are 4 to 5 principles in data cleansing which you need to know, which I was saying, touch pointing them at a high level: inconsistencies, completeness, deduplication, and identifying potential duplicates. Probably, if you require these details, I will be able to discuss this, touch points during the end of our course. Definitely, I'm happy to share those details if you're interested. Okay, demand for technical or techno-functional consultants. Now, for every 3 positions or 4 positions of technical consultants, there will be one functional position will be there for MDG. One functional versus 3 technical positions will be offered. And this is a regular template, right? In any SAP implementation project, you have one functional consultant and you have 3 or 4 developers supporting him. It is the same template here. Now, techno-functional. Yeah, every client wanted to have multiple skills, blended skills, from one person. If you are a techno-functional, definitely you'll be getting a better package, I would say. It is not an opportunity, you would get a better package. Because whenever we are getting a requirement, we don't get any requirements saying that we need a techno-functional consultants. Clients will be asking you either you need a technical or a functional consultants. But if you feel that you're a techno-functional consultant, you will be able to negotiate better in a CTC discussion. How this course will help MDG end users to build their careers in SAP consultants. How this course supports beginners in SAP to become. Okay. So end users. Now, end users know the process, right? Now, it's when we say data, there are 2 ways how you look at the data. Looking data as a technical consultant, he would be only looking at the value of, for example, if there is a stock or if there is a valuation class which says 1,000. Now, changing 1,000 to 1,001 does not make him a much difference. It's a change log for him. By changing 1,000 to 1,001, if the valuation of the material is getting depreciated, it is creating an impact. This is something an end user will know. So as an end user, again, MDG gives you a platform as a consultant where you can call yourself as a data quality consultant, right? So you start with MDG and get into governance aspect of MDG as an end user to governance consultant. And again, going further, you have to convert yourself as a data quality consultant. Now, the moment you guys, please understand this part. When you are becoming a data consultant, right, it is no more about SAP. It is about data. Now you are making yourself flexible that you guys can go and work in any kind of a data project. Probably it could be a Oracle based data management project, or it could be Atacama based MDG governance project. So yes, this is an opportunity for you to convert yourself from a more specific consultant as an end user or as a technical or a functional consultant to a data consultant, and expand your opportunities.
So, Anvish, one question. So, you teach technical and functional for MDG, or it's a pure functional side?
I would be I'll be teaching both the aspects of it, right? But I'll be teaching only one object, any one.
Okay.
Either it could be material or vendor, or it could be cost center, anyone I'll be able to teach.
Okay.
Because the concepts will be same. It's about, you just need to practice it.
Okay. You mean to say you will pick up a material so that you will show us end-to-end material concepts. So we need to replicate with the. So what about if it is coming to BP? We will have CVA concept like vendor customer vendor integration part. So will it be covered? Will be it also be covered in this course?
So now again, CBA concept is not an MDG concept, right? It is a business partner concept.
Yeah.
Generally, what happens is when you are taking up any MDG project, right? Your limitations will be only to configure MDG, but not getting into SPRO.
Yes.
When we implementing MDG, we say that is your system in a state that I can create a BP, it is creating a customer. Yes. Okay. Then system is ready for MDG implementation. If not, put your functional consultant to configure it. Right. So this is how we deal with customers. Now there would be some kind of a small and mid-sized customers. They would expect everything will be done by MDG consultants.
Yes.
Because how the sales team, how the marketing team projecting it during the scope of work makes a difference. Where you are not involved in that.
Correct.
Right? Then they would expect us to do what? And we have to do that. Now, those things I'll ask you to keep it as you're learning. But if you're really feeling it as a difficult thing, I'll be able to give you a discussion on that.
Okay. So you cover data model creating of custom data models and data dictionary, all these concepts you will cover.
So now I'll tell you how I would be covering, right? So I'll be taking example of a custom data model, okay? And I'll be able to take through a standard data model, both. Okay. Because here there are some functional consultants who are not interested in coding, and there could be some technical consultants who would be requiring this, coding as both aspects, right? So I would be taking one standard and one custom, and I'll show how to activate the solutions end to end. Okay. Only a replication is not something which I cannot show in the other system, because as a training system we have limitations. I'll be able to show only sending the data outside.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
A receiver kind of thing. We should have a 2 or 3 servers again.
Yes.
That's good. And coming to the process modeling part, like you will cover all these BRF plays.
Yeah, all those things will come.
All those things will be covered, like a dynamic workflow, how it goes, like a process, parallel workflow, sequential, everything will be covered, right?
Everything will be covered, yes.
And coming to UI configuration, like SM port plan management also will be covered, FPMs kind of things.
FPM, everything will be covered.
SMT mapping, value mapping, all this will be covered, right? In the end-to-end zero. Anyways, we are trying to create
the key mapping and value mapping would be more on the theoretical aspect, because for them, you need to have an integration feasibility to know it. Okay, so that would be covered on the theoretical part, but remaining parts wherever which is under the scope of an MDG, we'll be doing it, because so now key mapping, all these things will be part of DRF.
Yeah.
How many of the MDG consultants know that DRF is not an MDG component? Right? I mean, before MDG, I remember in 2011 or 12, we are working on DRF. Right? Data replication framework is all about replicating the data, nothing related to MDG. So it involves definitely two systems to be connected to really able to understand the value of key and value mapping, but it will be delivered as part of a theory. Why we have to do it?
But when we create this custom data model kind of thing, or custom attribute, then we have to move this attribute to the UI modeling, right? UI user interface. So in that case, we also have to use this mapping tool, right?
Not required.
Not required.
Not required.
But how we will bring this attribute to the UI screen actually? In what way? In which way we can bring it out?
See, those things will automatically come as part of a general model generation, right? Which you will come to know, when we are on that session.
Okay.
Because as a person, as when I'm saying that now I was working as part of the technical consultant, I was being part of Utopia in developing the custom solutions, and has been part of SNV in developing the FIEA, where I've closely worked with standard SAP team sitting in Germany to evaluate our product and to certify our product.
Okay.
So I'll be able to cover all the aspects, right? If you are looking from a technical consultant, I'll be making sure that you will be covering the entire touch points of MDG and able to deliver a solution to the customers. That's what my focus would be.
Yeah, so because I'm into a functional consultant, wanted to have a technical concepts as well. So I'm putting all these questions to you, whether
No
this
problem.
can be covered or not. Because currently I'm working on ECC environment, and our clients are moving to hub deployment for S/4HANA. But of course, they have not given to us. Some of the parties working on that, other vendor is working on that. But just wanted to, when I'm trying to deal with the business, I used to propose him and kind of things. We are ready to work in S4 HANA hub deployment and all. We wanted to know the landscape of hub deployment in our project also. But before that, I just wanted to understand the technical concepts also, so that going forward, there are few greenfield implementations which are going to come out into our company. So I just wanted to make myself ready before getting into these projects. So that's what I'm having all these questions to you, Anvish.
No problem.
Yeah, hope you understand.
No problem. I understand that.
Thank you.
So, thank you. So now I see some of the questions from Bala Murugan, vendor, customer, GL, cost center, asset master. Can MDG support all these masters apart from WBS, right? Apart from WBS, the remaining masters are already solutions available by SAP or by SAP partners. Now, how easy or difficult would be transist to MDG if I'm from Informatica, data governance, data quality, and MDM background? Now, you should be able to project as a functional consultant. Now, when I say customer or a vendor, the attributes that defines a customer will be same no matter which tool that you're implementing, right? So it is all about the theoretical part. There is nothing, as a dependent on the tool side. So Apurva, in case if you wanted to really convert yourself, definitely MDG gives you an advantage, because most of the functional requirements, they don't ask you in which tool you have worked. They will only understand your capabilities on understanding the importance of the data and governance. So it should not be a problem for you, right? Now, Sai Teja, presently I was working with an ITM master and vendor master creation. Is this was a good career path for future? So definitely, because when we are also marketing our marketing team, who is looking for the demos, we also given that an end users from SAP can also enroll for this course, because there are opportunities for them, right? So if you already know MDG and working as an end user, right, either creating the customers or vendors and talking with the business users and see the impact of changing, or probably you're doing any kind of an audit by yourself. This would be a definitely good platform for you, Teja. And Shaker, data consolidation, validation, enrichment is done via bots or Synity tool. Is the statement true? If not, clarify. Once the data is ready to load, do we need to from MDG? Yes. So the data consolidation and validation of data enrichment can be done by bots or Synity or any other master data, any other migration tools which will address only existing data, Shaker, right? The asterisk point here is any consolidation or validation of data enrichment for the existing data can be done by the migration tools, right? From MDG, you don't need to do any data loading. Please understand, MDG is not meant for migration. MDG is only meant for governance. So we don't do data loading via MDG. How this course supports providing exposure to the live projects and hands-on experience to gain expertise in MDG. Okay. So very simple. Whenever I'm dealing with, I'm taking one real-time project and I'll take you through the entire course, and I'll be giving one more requirement for you. That will be another real-time project. You have to do it as part of your assignments. So there will be couple of case studies which will be given end of the course, which you will be able to demonstrate or ability to answer, in your interview also. So end of this course, you will be able to go through two real-time projects plus two real-time case studies also. So total four different project requirements you will be having in your hands, and we will be also recommending some resumes to you, right? We will be having some points to put in your resume. If your experience is falling under 3 years, under 6 years, under 9 years, under 12 years, right? And if you're coming from a technical role or if you're coming from a functional role, according to the role also, we will be giving those objects to put in your resume. Accordingly, you'll be able to mention that in your profile and start looking for opportunities. Any idea on demand to supply for SAP MDG opportunity? It's a good question, Apurva. See, now there is a lot of supply available because people understand the kind of packages offered by the industry. But if you ask me, the quality of the resources. For example, if one interview is happening, we are evaluating hardly not 12 to 13 profiles to have a good fitment. There are so many profiles available in the market who themselves call as MDG consultants, but reality check is they're not able to answer very basic questions in the interview. So it's not about demand to supply ratio you need to think about. It is about if there is one opportunity, how well you can able to fit into that opportunity and answer the questions. This document provides any project document templates for real-time SAP project implementation. One project plan will be providing. How long will the course take? Generally take from 30 to 35 hours, right? And if it is more interactive and if it is more interesting on the both sides, I might take more examples also. So you can take a buffer of 35 to 40 hours in between. Somewhere we can close this course. So we have next 2 minutes to wind up. Any other who are waiting for any to answer your questions, you can put your questions in the chat. I'll look into them and I'll answer you. So having a background in DQM will help me excited learning how to learn SAP MDG. Yes, that's correct, Apurva. That's correct. So Arun would be taking up now. I'm waiting for Arun.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Before we close today's session, I would like to hear your feedback. If you found today's SAP MDG webinar useful, so I request everyone to drop a quick message in the chat, or we would like to hear from you the feedback, and also it would help us a lot. Where you can simplify with a good session, very informative, or interested in learning about SAP MDG, because you're also going to start an MDG sessions in the coming days, right? The programs. So I would like to hear from you or in the chat. So please.
So, Arun, how can we contact you? So, regarding the course, when the sessions will start and the course structure and fees and all that, when we can discuss on this?
I have all of your numbers because initially have connected with one of you, right? So I have all the contacts, but somebody who has joined maybe with the reference of your friends or colleagues. So maybe you can, drop your contact number in the chat so I can connect tomorrow with you. And I would like to also know how is the trainer knowledge on SAP MDG, and how do you rate the total experience out of five?
So right away we can give you.
Yeah, right away now.
So right, I just wanted to tell you one thing out of my experience. I have seen so many trainers or subject matter experts. What's the difference between them and Anvesh is like he tried the session like a business point of view. So the client facing, how we connect to vendors to the client, how the process goes on in the high level, that he has given fantastic way. Generally, the MDG courses or what are the courses in the market. There are so many courses entire in the city, not in the city, in the
Mhm.
states or everywhere.
Mhm.
What's the main difference is like people are will give us a demo starting with what is MDG and how this is. They try to impress the users
Mhm.
who was connected over here, and they will just create some interest on the first two sessions or three sessions, and
Mhm.
they'll make feel comfortable and easy. These courses can be MDG can learn everyone. In that way they will try to it is like just a marketing strategy they use it. But here
Okay.
coming to Anvesh, he has gone in completely in a high level and the business level on the real time scenario based level he has gone through. I'm just observing the context, whether he's going to show us any context. These are the data model workflows and all these concepts. I mean, MDG concepts. I thought that he will discuss on that way, but it's a beautiful thing is that he has just gone the overview how the business dealings that required, how the client deal. We have to deal the client with this
Mhm.
MDG. So, on the corporate style, it has gone completely to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Nag Mahinder.
Yeah.
That was a very good feedback, and we'll have the feedback. And looking forward for rest people to, just maybe you can give us the ratings out of five, or maybe we can hear from your side, or maybe in the chat. Yeah, and I would like to also, give the ask Anvis, Mr. Anvis, to give the response for Nagamunan. Yeah, and how about Balamurgan, Tony? I think Tony, when we had conversation, right? You said you also have some questions that you would like to ask before we, when we have connected initially. So please kindly, if you have any questions or anything to say about the feedback or about anything, please comment in the chat, or maybe we can hear it from you. And tomorrow I'll be connecting to each one of you to discuss and also to understand when are you going to join the course, because sooner or later we're going to start the batch by next week, or maybe on the coming week, right? Yeah.
So this is offered on weekdays or only weekends. How this goes, like Arun?
So we have two batches,
Mm-hmm.
Mahinder. We have weekday batch and also weekend. Weekday
Mm-hmm.
runs from Monday to Friday, and
Mm-hmm.
also weekend runs on Saturday and Sunday.
Timings could be like around.
Yeah, mostly it will be on on weekends, because even Mr. Anvesh will be many projects. So I think preferred timings would be on weekends, and the timings would be in the evening time, or maybe in the I'll check with Mr. Anvesh.
Okay.
Maybe it will be probably like 2 to 2.5 hours on each day. So and then we can discuss by tomorrow on this. And I would like to also hear from Darshan. Darshan, how is your experience? I would like to know your feedback. Darshan, you're not audible. In the meantime, I would like to also know from Akshay, Akshay Revankar.
Hey,
Darshan, I
hi, Arun.
guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Hi,
session
Darshan.
was good.
Yeah, hi, Akshay.
Yeah, the session was good and very informative. And I like the way Anvesh has explained the things.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it. That's it
Okay.
from my
So,
end.
how much do you think you can rate out of five?
He's a more experienced person than me. Not sure, but I like the whole presentation. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you. And Darshan, I guess you're typing, but we couldn't able to hear your voice. You can switch. And I would like to also know from Sai Teja. Sai Teja, how is your experience with the session? So, as Mr. Anvesh told that the session would be on Saturdays and Sundays, and it will be probably like 2 hours in each day. So, the exact timing will be shared by tomorrow. So, I'll connect to each one of you, for the enrollment of the course. Okay.
So, Arun, sorry,
Yeah.
last and final one thing, just wanted to ask you
Yes.
only. Just if I wanted to connect with Anvesh on a call at least,
Mm-hmm.
can I have at least 15 minutes or 10 minutes hardly? Because I just wanted to discuss about my profile to Anvesh. So I need some time if you can, if we can connect to Anvesh through telephone. That's a
So
better.
that I have to check with Mr. Anvesh, and
No
then
problem.
maybe
No
we
problem.
can discuss this. I'll connect to you tomorrow, right? Anyway.
Please,
So, and then by the time I'll have the conversation with Mr. Anvesh,
please.
then maybe tomorrow I can connect with him. I
Yeah.
can connect with you, with Mr. Anvesh. So that will be possible.
No problem. And at
Yeah.
what time can I expect a call from tomorrow? Because
In the most probably in the second half.
second half, that's fine then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun. Nice talking
Yeah.
to you.
Not a
Nice.
problem.
It was a nice session and wish as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback. So, Tony, I think, yeah, you have a question. If it is 2 hours per weekend, hence how many weekends in total? So, I think that as Mr. Anvesh told, so if there is too much of, examples or explanation, if it is required, then maybe it can, extend. So, but for the exact weekends, I can tell you by tomorrow. Okay. I think most probably it will be like 8 weeks, Tony. Yeah. Anyone else? Anybody? If you have any questions, just before we wind up the session. Okay, Apurva has a question saying, I would also like to connect 10 to 15 minutes in one discussion. Sure, Apurva, we can do that. And tomorrow, you know, yes, Nagamanda, the sessions will be shared.
No, I'm talking about this particular session also because I just wanted to share to my colleagues as well if they are interested so that we all together can join
Sure,
that
sure, definitely, definitely.
as well. Yeah.
So it will be shared, and also the batch recordings, everything we have an internal LMS. So
Mhm.
where we're going to put every recording on each day,
Mm.
so you can able to go through it, and also you can download as well. So that will be an access for you.
Trainer
And
server
as
will be provided for how many months or weeks? How it goes?
so as long as the sessions are going to be there, so you will be having the access.
Okay.
Yeah,
Till the session ends
yeah.
up,
So
so that
yes, Darshan. Sorry, now I'm in.
so you mean to say if it is 30 hours, for 30 hours the session, training service are provided?
Yes, 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 right.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and Darshan, yeah, does this course also include pre-recorded sessions? Yes. So as we're going to start with a career beginner program where it has 20% of the course which involves into more for like a freshers that we're going to target. So those will be pre-recorded sessions, and that will be given to you in the LMS. And then the rest, 80% of the videos, 80% of the content or the curriculum will be given to you as the live interactive sessions. Even those are recorded, and those will be also provided through the LMS. So that means you have all the recording sessions, pre-recorded sessions.
So, Arun, sorry to cut you short there.
Yeah.
I think is the way that we are designing every course is into three categories. One is career beginning program, career acceleration program, and the leadership program. So the difference would be, for example, if you are taking a leadership course, the leadership course will only take about 5 to 6 hours, not more than that. This is meant for the solution architects, the project managers, or from a client side, the decision makers, CEOs, CTOs, technical heads, IT infrastructure heads, or from a sales side of any consulting companies, right? Who is actually taking a decision of implementing MDG, and what are the key considerations that they need to do, what is an impact of after, I mean, post implementation, what kind of issues that they would get, how they need to manage their application and maintenance support, what could be the cost, how they will be able to leverage the cost of MDG implementation, what are the areas, how they can do better in MDG. Those kind of details will be discussed in the leadership program, right? So we don't get into any details and technicalities in the leadership program, but we'll be discussing at the very high level. Now, the career acceleration program, this is meant for someone whom already they are having some touch on either from a domain side or from a technicalist side who already know something, right? Instead of coming from a empty blank page, who already knows something and they want to upgrade themselves into MDG. That's a career acceleration program. So in this acceleration program, we would be starting assuming that you know something, and then we will start it. Now there will be a career beginning program, right? So in that we'll be teaching the fundamentals of basic, ABAP. What is ABAP? What is an object? What is a database table? What is a select query? These kind of very basics we will teach. And also we will teach the creation of material master. What is material from a business point of view? What is a ledger from a business point of view? We discuss those fundamentals in the very beginner program, and then we will ask them to join this program. So this is how we have crafted the course. Now, beginners means something who don't know anything, right? So based on these three different courses that we have crafted, you can judge yourself where you'll be able to fit into. Based on the feedback what I have received from Arun, from all your backgrounds, I see almost everyone is fitting into career acceleration program only, right? Any questions on that?
Nothing, Anush.
Yeah. To you, Arun. Enough. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Apurva, you have a question, right? So as you've already mentioned that you would like to connect one-to-one with Mr. Anish, right? So you can discuss tomorrow. But other than that, I think if there is any feedback that anyone wants to give, so you can directly drop in the chat and then we can connect tomorrow, right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you for your time and participation today. I hope this session gave you a clear insights into SAP MDG and how it can contribute to your career growth. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks to one and all. Good day.